Hey, and welcome back to Creator Side Income. Today we are going to talk about the fortune is in the follow-up. Now, if you read business books, this is probably a concept that's very familiar to you. A lot of people talk about how important follow-up is, especially in sales. But I rarely do sales. I'm a school teacher and I do product reviews, but I have to follow up with people all the time. I was reminded about that today as I was walking up the stairs and I was leaving my office and I had this hat that was hanging. Now, what you don't see on this hat, you do see this Crunch Labs logo, but you might not see that it was signed by Mark Rober. Mark Rober is one of my heroes. He does what I want to be doing for the rest of my life, which is teaching and making a difference. Now, he happens to be teaching on YouTube, whereas most of my teaching happens in the classroom. I do a little bit here on YouTube, but I really admire who Mark Rober is. How did I get this hat? It's because I taught my son about how to network and reach out, and he reached out to a bunch of people for Father's Day this year and said, hey, my dad really thinks you're awesome. Could you send him an autograph or this or that? And then he followed up with Mark Rober. Actually, he got a rejection from Crunch Labs team and wrote back to clarify a few things. And they went back and forth, and he said it took about 5 messages. But in the end, I got a package from Crunch Labs that had a bunch of cool little things in it, including this hat and a note from Mark Rober, which was really, really cool. Now, my son was disappointed because Mr. T didn't respond to him.
But I pity the fool.
My favorite band, Sister Hazel, didn't respond to him. Really, really famous people didn't respond to him. And he knows that I've had success reaching out to really famous people because I've been a talk show host and I've interviewed dozens of Hollywood celebrities, Olympic athletes, professional athletes, and a bunch of different sports. He knows that it's possible, but he hasn't gone through the failure cycle and he hasn't gone through the rejection cycle yet. So we just had a quick conversation about follow-up. And I said, in the sales world, it's really common to set up even a schedule for following up where maybe you send an email out on Monday and then you set yourself a reminder. And then the following Monday, you send a follow-up message and then you set a reminder. And a month after that, you send another follow-up. That can border on spammy, and I don't typically do that. But it works because a lot of people won't respond until the second, third, seventh time. Now, to illustrate that, let me share a quick story. When I was teaching 5th grade, I really wanted to reach out to an author who had written a book that we were reading in our class. Now, this wasn't a required book. This was something that our class voted on and we wanted to read for fun. He had a series called Michael Vey. And it was a really fun series and we were enjoying it. And I really wanted to have the opportunity to talk to the author with my students and talk about the writing process because many of my students were working towards becoming published authors. And a few of them actually did become published authors. So it was really, really cool. I found him on social media. So I looked for his Twitter handle, Instagram handle, Facebook, went to his website, found the contact information there. And I used all those different avenues and I sent out a message and crickets. I didn't hear anything. So a few weeks passed. I send out another blast, nothing. And then after that, I found what I think would be the most likely place to respond from, which is an email address. And so I had found an email address through one of the contact forms or something. And I continued. I think I tried 2 more times. So in total, I probably sent over 10 messages, including 3 or 4 emails. And on the last one, his secretary responded and said, hey, sorry I never responded before. Mr. Evans has been out of the country researching for his next book. He literally got back yesterday and he's in his ranch where these books are staged, which is really cool. He would love to talk to your class. Can we do it this week? And so we hurried and arranged things. We did a Zoom call with him. I brought in some of the students from some of the other classes. And we had this awesome hour-long Zoom chat with a famous author. The point is, it wasn't the first contact that worked. It wasn't the second contact worked. And I wasn't trying to be spammy. It was for a really good cause. It was something I believed in where we were both working together to help someone else. And that's the key with a lot of things. When you're making an ask, if it's all about you and your personal gain, people won't respond. But I found this also with my YouTube channel, Virtual School Assembly, when I was reaching out to Hollywood celebrities and professional athletes. And I said, hey, we're during here during this crazy time of COVID and my students are stuck at home, they're not getting the same kind of connection to community they had before. I'm trying to help them with motivational speeches from people that they admire. Would you mind hopping on a Zoom call with me and we'll create this virtual assembly for my students? A lot of people responded to that because it was for a good cause. It was helping these 10-year-olds that were really struggling during COVID. And so if you have a good cause and then you have some sort of follow-up sequence, you're going to have great success. Now, great success might be 10% of the people respond. And of those 10%, 10% of them you're actually able to connect with. And that's what I found using things like LinkedIn and other social media. To get a 1% response rate was really good, which meant if I really wanted to make a difference, I'm going to reach out to 100 people in a day and hopefully nail down one of them for, in this case, for a speech or for an assembly. I've done that with speaking engagements. I love to do speaking at different schools. And so if I want to actually book a gig and get paid to speak, I might have to reach out to 100 principals to get one low-paid speaking gig. And that's just how it works. Now, how does that apply to some of the side hustles that I've been working on? A lot of you are in the Amazon influencer program or maybe TikTok shop, and you're trying to get products, right? You can wait for people to reach out to you and they'll give you things that maybe you don't necessarily want. But sometimes I want to review very specific things because they're for my students or for gifts, things that I actually want for myself or for my family. And so I will reach out to companies, and typically what I'll do is I'll pick the product. So I'll use as an example, this is what I did today. I want another e-bike. I've reviewed a couple e-bikes in the past. They're really awesome. Even if they don't sell like crazy on Amazon, it's cool to have an e-bike. And so just to get one to review is great. For my students, we do auctions in our classroom, and I want to have really awesome prizes for my students. So for the top prizes, I would love to do an e-bike this semester and maybe a few musical instruments. So this morning, I decided I'm going to reach out to 10 e-bike companies. So I went to Amazon and I went through the listings and found out the names of the companies. Then I simply Googled their names. And if they have a website, I went to their contact us page and I found the email address and I sent them a short message that says, I'd love to review an e-bike if you're willing to send me one. I've had success in the past. They used some of my numbers. I reached out to 10 companies. Now, if one of those 10 responds back and I can get an e-bike outfit, that was well worth the hour I spent doing a little bit of research. There's a good chance that 0 of the 10 will reach back to me. So what would be my next step? I'm going to go to Instagram and find maybe they have a person that works specifically on social media or works with influencers. A few of the companies that I looked at actually have affiliate programs, so I could sign up to be an affiliate and then do that. I can send a follow-up email in a week to the same 10 companies. Now I have their contact information, so I can go back through and just send a follow-up email and try it that way. So it takes a bit of work, but if the result is maybe I'll spend 2 or 3 hours and I'll get a free $1,000 value e-bike, that's worth my time. I'm also doing that same thing today with guitars and ukuleles because those are also great gifts for my students. It takes a little bit of work, but the fortune is in the follow-up. That's today's message. Have a great day. Bye.